You're putting up with poor customer service, shoddy goods and hidden small print? Well, trust me, you're not alone.
I would like to say to the big companies, please treat people fairly.
There are companies out there that seem to think it's okay to treat us like fools.
We're not as stupid as they think.
But fear not, because you've got me on your side.
I'll take them on to stop you from getting done.
On today's show, I go after an insurance giant on behalf of a very deserving family.
I'm hoping that Dom can add some clout.
You bet I can.
What you're saying to me, I can't see that as being accurate.
Plus, I tell you how to avoid an electricity bill like the one this social club was faced with.
£42,879.52.
And we hit the streets to put your consumer rights knowledge to the test.
Your neighbour's apples tree overhangs your garden. In the summer, some of the apples fall onto your lawn. Can you eat them?
Have you got what-if worries? You know, the sort that keep you awake at night. What if I get sick? What if I lose my job? What if I can't afford the mortgage? I'm sure you do. Because the average Brit spends almost £3 a year on insurance for some peace of mind. So insurance is big business, but beware.
The whole point of insurance is that it gives you protection, so if the unexpected happens, you don't get stung. But what if, when you need it the most, you find you're not protected at all? That can be very scary indeed.
But this is no laughing matter, especially when the insurance involved is critical illness cover. And sadly, that's something Craig and Tracy Marshall have found out to their cost. They live in Scunthorpe with their two sons, Josh, aged 12, and Jack, aged 5. Craig is ex-military and takes looking after his family very seriously indeed. In 2007, he and Tracy started looking for insurance that would provide for the family if the worst happened.
Tracy's dad had suffered with cancer previously, so it was something that was, you know, very real to us at that point. So obviously we wanted to get that protection for us and to cover the mortgage.
So in December 2007, Craig and Tracy signed up for individual critical illness cover with Nationwide Life Limited, the insurance arm of the Nationwide Building Society, for one reason only: their children.
We wanted to obviously provide some financial reassurance and protection should anything happen to either of us.
Then in October 2009, the family were dealt a devastating blow. Their 5-year-old son Jack began collapsing at school, and after visits to the hospital, they were given the news that every parent dreads.
At the end of October 2009, Jack was diagnosed with medulloblastoma, which is a brain tumour.
It's absolutely devastating. Your whole world just falls apart at that stage.
Surgeons operated to try and remove the tumour, and Jack began a tough course of treatment.
His plan was to have radiotherapy and then chemotherapy, but they had to bring the chemotherapy forward, which was very, very high dose and made Jack very, very sick.
Jack required 24-hour care, and that soon took its toll on the family's finances.
I had to stop work. There was no option but to help care for Jack and be there for Jack. We still had the bills to pay, so we had to use our savings to pay those bills. And then there was the fuel costs, travelling to the hospital and back from the hospital. You still need to have these daily running costs, which in some cases are compounded and made even worse by the sheer distance that you have to travel to get to these regional children's centres.
Financial worries were the last thing the family needed. But then Tracy heard something that made her sit up and take note.
It just so happened that I was in hospital with Jack on one occasion in clinic, and I overheard somebody talking about insurance that they had that covered on their child as well. And it was obviously when I came back that afternoon and said to Craig, well, it's not worth just double check to make sure that we're not sort of missing out on anything.
It looked like the family's worries could be eased. The policy would pay out a lump sum of up to £15,000.
Excitement's not the right word to use, but you can start thinking of the things that we could do for Jack, that we could do with the money to help Jack or to enrich Jack's life and his experiences. And also this could take away some of the burden upon us should the need arise for me have to not be able to work again for a while.
There's the future to consider as well.
We could have some money put aside for Jack so that he would have a stable platform from which to launch his early adult life.
But there was a potential snag. In 2008, Legal & General took over Nationwide Life, the company Craig and Tracy had their policies with. So Craig logged onto its website.
It clearly stated there that children's cover was provided free of charge.
This was a massive relief. Convinced he was covered, Craig got on the phone to make a claim, and that's when things started to go wrong.
Initially, I telephoned Legal & General, and I ended up being passed on to Nationwide, their claims department.
Craig was confused because he thought his policy was now with Legal & General, and things were about to get a lot worse.
Eventually, I was told that because we had a legacy policy from Nationwide, that children's critical illness cover wasn't included.
Now what this means in plain English is that at the time Craig and Tracy took out their insurance with Nationwide Life Limited, children weren't covered as part of the policy. Those were the conditions they signed up to, and those were the conditions that still stood on their policy, regardless of what more recent policies might provide.
I was absolutely gutted. I felt sick to my stomach with what I was being told.
Craig and Tracy are understandably very upset, and they've asked me if there's anything I can do to help. This is clearly a very difficult situation. So I'm going to meet the family in Scunthorpe to see if there's anything I can do to get around the problem.
Hi.
Hello.
Craig.
Hi.
Good to meet you. Tracy.
Hi,
Lovely to meet you.
Come on in.
Thanks very much. What a lovely house.
Thank you very much.
Right, I got your letter, I've got to say. Upsetting and distressing. Where any child's concerned, it's, you know, and they're not well. I think that plucks at everybody's heartstrings. How is Jack at the moment?
Not too bad at the moment. We just had MRI results back for Jack last week, which showed that the disease has reduced more.
He's still very weak, isn't he?
Yeah.
So you've got these policies in place, and you've put a claim in there, haven't you? It's been rejected. Now explain to me the reasons for that.
Nationwide is saying that their children's cover was never included in their policies.
So what makes you think you have got it then?
Because when you check the websites, it says on the websites that it's included free.
And he's right, it's definitely included free now. But unfortunately, it wasn't when Craig took out his policy. So he's not being denied something he's entitled to. Let's make that quite clear. The issue here is very simple. Craig feels that as he's still paying for his policy, he should be allowed to claim under its current terms, but Nationwide Life disagree.
How did you feel about that?
Devastated. You know, it's not about the money. It wasn't about the money. It was about what we could do for Jack with the money. Options that would be available for treatment if it was needed, that the money could help towards. Changing things around the house, making things safer for Jack, modifying things, replenish the savings and have that financial reassurance in the background.
Just do something all together as a family and have some good memories as well. That was...
But to be told, no, I'm sorry, you're not entitled to it. It was gut-wrenching.
It is absolutely gut-wrenching indeed, but remember, children weren't covered in his nationwide life policy when he signed it in December 2007. So I press him for more details. I want anything that might give me another angle to investigate.
There was a delay in between us actually signing for the policy
Right.
and the policy payments beginning. There was actually a 3-month delay.
This is because Nationwide Life had to do background medical checks on Craig and Tracy. I don't know if this delay helps my case, but it's something to look into. And I want Craig and Tracy to look into critical illness cover for children, how it works, what questions you should ask when you take it out. You know, things like that.
Right. Nice to meet you.
You too, thank you very much.
And you, Tracy. Lovely to see you.
Nice to meet you.
As if Tracy and Craig haven't got enough on their plate as it is. I mean, you've got Jack with his health problems, of course, but on top of that, they've also got all the money worries that come with the problems that are associated with that. Now, there's a lot of confusion here. Have they or have they not got critical illness cover for their kids? And that's exactly what I'm going to find out. But it's me against the Goliaths. Legal & General and Nationwide Life aren't paying out because Craig's policy didn't include critical illness cover for children when he signed it. So I've got to find a chink in their armour. It's going to be tough, but that's never put me off before. Let's get started.
Thank you for calling Legal & General. Please note that your call may be recorded for security and training purposes.
I'm soon put through to customer services.
Good afternoon, Legal & General Claims Team. Ian speaking. How can I help?
Ian, good afternoon. I need to speak to somebody who might be able to answer some queries about one of your members' policies.
I want to know what happened to Nationwide Life customers, like Craig, when Legal & General took over.
If people had a business or had their policy with Nationwide, when they went over to Legal & General, did any part of the policy change?
As far as I know, no. I mean, all the terms are still kept with Nationwide Life terms, so nothing's gone across to the Legal & General side other than that it is administered with them.
He's basically telling me that Craig and Tracy have a Legal & General policy with Nationwide Life terms and conditions. Now, is that confusing or what?